Remember, remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason, and plot. I see no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Welcome to Saturday Rough Cuts, bitches! Not that you're a bitch or anything, I'm just saying welcome to Saturday Rough Cuts. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday. I'm having a gin and tonic with a splash of lime. Delicious. It's an old person's drink, I know, but I love it. This week I will be reviewing V For Vendetta, starring Natalie Portman and Hugo Weaving. It is a 2006 film, rated R, runs a little over 2 hours. I've got the widescreen edition here. I actually have the DVD this time that I'm reviewing. Directed by James McTeague. He was the assistant director on the Matrix things, which brings me to the writers of the screenplay. The screenplay for this was the Wachowski brothers. Am I saying that right? They did the Matrix movies. That's what most people know them for. If you hate the Matrix movies, don't judge this by those. If you love it, it's still hard to judge V For Vendetta by those. They're kind of separate movies, separate meanings. Anyway, they're who did it. It is obviously, most people know, based on the original graphic novel by Alan Moore and David Lloyd. I got this bad boy for $4, and it's like a $30 graphic novel. It's got all kinds of special little features in the back, and you can see how the artwork kind of looks in it, which looks pretty neat. And then there's all kinds of special stuff in the back, unpublished things, stuff like that. I saw the movie first. I had not read the comic book, even though I am a huge comic book fan. That's just one of the ones that got away from me. That and Watchmen, again by Moore. I watched the movie first and then read the book. I can't really tell you which is better to do, but I highly recommend doing both. If you're a huge movie fan, I would say watch the movie first. If you really love to read and love getting into the story and you usually find books better than movies, then I would say read the graphic novel first. Either way, like I said, do both. With Alan Moore, here's what's funny about this movie before I even get into the plot or whatever, and it's something that it just kind of irks me. Nowhere in the credits is Alan Moore's name. He obviously wrote the graphic novel, but because of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and From Hell, which he also wrote, he had some bad experiences. He is, for any movie that is sold that is his, he just doesn't take any money from it, or he gives the rights away, and he doesn't want any credit for it, doesn't want to be associated with it. And I don't know, I kind of feel like that's just being stuck up, or just kind of being a prick. However, I mean, he's probably got his own good reason for it. He probably went through some financial hell or some lawsuits or something. And it just, I've read interviews with him where he puts down Hollywood and he puts down superhero comics, and I don't like when writers do that, like put down another medium, because the whole medium isn't bad. Not all superhero comics suck. Not all movies that are made from comic books suck. So I don't know, it's just very strange the way he acts, but anyway, you'll see that it says based on the graphic novel by David Lloyd, or co-produced or made by David Lloyd, but this is highly influenced by Alan Moore's writing. It is the story of I guess you could call him an anarchist. It's a man who very much embodies Guy Fawkes, if some of you know who that is, tried to overthrow Parliament on November 5th. I actually can't remember the year off the top of my head. Look it up. In the movie, he is an anarchist, and so it's hard to embrace him all the time, because he does believe in anarchy, which isn't always the greatest thing, but his purpose for it, his end, the end result that he wants to achieve is to open people's eyes and just wake them up to a new, different world. And he's not trying to become all-powerful. He's not trying to gain power by doing it, gain fame by doing it. He wears the mask all the time, so you don't get to see who he is. He doesn't want any kind of notoriety. He just wants everybody to wake up from this corrupt government that they're suffering from. It's set in Great Britain in the future. The comic book was written in the 80s and it was kind of set in the 90s. The movie takes place more in like the year 2020, somewhere around there. It's got a lot of underlying tones. It's got a lot of just deeper meaning about, and you can relate it to anything, the war going on now, this or that, but I think it's just more of how if you let higher powers, such as maybe the government or something, suppress you, they will. And that's not saying our government's bad or any government in a country. I'm not going to get into the whole political debate of that. But it's just showing how the governments should work for the people, not, the people working for the government. And, he, near the beginning, he meets Natalie Portman, whose name is Evie, and, kind of helps her out. She needs saving, and he helps her, and then he takes her on this journey, in a way, showing her, opening her mind, teaching her how things really are. A lot of action in this flick, tons of action, awesome music, Tchaikovsky, and all kinds of classical music going on, and they do a really good job. One thing I find interesting about this also is the graphic novel is actually taught in a lot of college classes. Some of you may not know that, and I think Waterpipe took a class in college where they taught this book. Tons of symbolism, especially with, the number 5, the letter V, the Roman numerals, that just all of the association with V and 5 and all that. He was really creative, Alan Moore, in putting that in there. Like, a lot of the first words start with V that they use, or the sentences start with V. There's all kinds of symbolism throughout that I caught a little bit of it, but I'm not even going to pretend to be intelligent enough to just catch that as it's going or as I read it. I actually caught it more when I read it than when I saw the movie. So I got online and looked up a bunch of the different ones, but I do recommend when you read it or watch it, just kind of look for that, how the letter V pops up everywhere and how certain things mean a lot more than just what you see at face value. There is a scene in this movie where V, the main character, the anarchist, he sets up all these dominoes, and it's just during this, it's almost like a montage scene. He sets up all these dominoes, and it is incredible how awesome it looks, and when he sets the dominoes off, how they fall and everything. Online, I either saw it online or on a special feature on the DVD, I read that it took four professional domino people, 4 professional domino assemblers, to assemble it over 200 hours. So that's just crazy to me that, one, it took over 200 hours to set this scene up by 4 professional domino assemblers. And then what's even crazier is, how do you get to be a professional domino assembler? What is that? Do you go to a school? Do you practice on weekends? Did they have strings on each domino? Does anybody know what a domino assembler does when they're not assembling dominoes? It's kind of strange. Lots to discuss when you watch this film with a friend or read the book or whatever. It'll just give you a lot of topics you could talk about and interesting things to think about. So, highly recommend V for Vendetta. The acting is awesome. A pretty good plot, lots of action. And then try reading the graphic novel and let me know what you think of it or what other graphic novels have been adapted that you've really liked. I am Coffee Doug. Thank you for watching me this Saturday. I'll see you next time.